Peace to the family. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Peace to my gods, peace to my earths, peace to all my righteous people throughout the planet. I see y'all. I'm with you. This is a very trying time, y'all, to be dealing with, the time that we're going through. There's a lot of stuff happening. They're talking about the impeachment of the president. A lot of people are, rallying for reparations. A lot of people are pushing for improvements within the government and changes within the government. And not just improvements and changes, but maybe like an overall, I wouldn't say an overthrow, but I would say cleaning of the bathwater, throwing out the old bathwater and starting with some new, fresh bathwater. And there's a lot of fear because people don't know what will come, what will happen, what will emerge to replace the old, And this is what happened in during times of like what they call regime change, where we're going from one system to the other, or from one age to the other, or maybe from one style of rule to another style of self-rule and management. It's kind of what happens, There's a little bit of upheaval, there's uncertainty, there's fear of the unknown. People don't know what's coming. Like people fear the dark because they can't see what's in it. But I think there's a way for us to see what's coming by what has happened in the past. I have a piece that I wrote, and it's called the CAUSMIC CLOCK. Okay, and it speaks about a clock that is within the cosmos, that is within the universe, a wheel that is within the universe, that is within the cosmos, that original people use to determine time. And examples of this is like the Aztec calendar. I think the Greeks called it the Plato's calendar. In India, they call it the Yuga cycles. Okay, so it's a larger clock. And it's not a clock that a person can necessarily see the whole thing in their lifetime, because this is a clock that lasts for like 25,000 years. But within this 25,000 years, we have what we call 12 dispensations that represent 2,083 years. You times that times 12, you get approximately 25,000 years, okay? And these different dispensations within this clock, these 12 parts, they have different personalities, okay? They have different energies that go with them. All of them are distinctly different, but they're all connected, these different times. An example of that is the things that you do at 12 o'clock, a lot of times, or the way the world looks at 12 o'clock changes between 12 and like 3. But then the way the world looks between 3 and 6 changes from how it looked between 12 and 3. You see? Much of time that we see is kind of an illusion, or I won't say an illusion. I wouldn't necessarily ride hard with that one, but it can appear to be one way, but actually be another way, because you're not looking at the bigger picture of what's going on. It happened to all of us. We're looking at just kind of tunnel vision, like a moment, and freezing that moment and saying that that's reality, when really it's all in motion. And we're just moving through the moment, But we have to keep moving through the moment. The mind has to keep moving. The body has to keep moving. Whatever you're doing or pursuing, you have to keep that moving. I'm talking to myself too, y'all. I'm not just preaching to nobody. It ain't about preaching it, but sometimes it's just about getting understanding and sharing, When all of us share and compare notes, usually we can come up with a bigger picture, and not get caught up in the nigger picture, because that can happen. So when I talk about the cosmic clock, the Yuga cycle, Plato's calendar, the time that we're in right now is that we're transitioning from out of the age of Pisces, which is the age of sacrifice, the age of human sacrifice, the age of deception, the age of confusion, Okay, and why do I say Pisces is confusion or deception? Because you have two fish going in two opposite directions. So one guy is saying north, one guy is saying south, you know. One is saying hot, one is saying cold. It's kind of like a higher aspect of the Gemini, you know. A lot of confusion, a lot of, I would say, compromise or conflicting emotions would exist because it's a water sign. But like once again, you have the two fish swimming in different directions. So it's like when you have these two emotions, extreme emotions, and it's difficult for you to choose between one or the other, and you can't find the equilibrium. That's Pisces. A lot of human sacrifice we saw happening within the age of Pisces. However, we're transitioning out of that into something new, into new energy, new thoughts, a new way of relating to the world. And this is called the age of, they say Aquarius, I say Aquarius. Okay, I say Aquarius. And I say Aquarius because, you know, the oldest calendar that I found, zodiac calendar, is in the Temple of Dendera in Kemet. And it's the oldest zodiac wheel. The zodiac wheel is not Greek, it's not Roman. The oldest calendar you will find is in the Temple of Dendera in Kemet. Kemet is also known as Egypt. Okay, so what does it mean, the fact that we're going from Pisces to Aquarius? We already discussed what Pisces represents. Let's talk about what Aquarius represents, okay? And that's going to be the first aspect of the cosmic clock that I'm going to demonstrate, okay? So Aquarius represents like the humanitarian. And this is why you see so many humanitarian efforts springing up and people being more drawn to humanitarian efforts, you know, to the human family. Looking at ourselves as a human family and feeling the pain of others and helping to relieve the pain and the distress and the oppression of others. That's a good thing. But also Aquarius represents the revolutionary, or the upheaval and the overthrow of unjust, tyrannical governments, you know, or systems or rulers. That's a beautiful thing, you know. But once again, there's a lot of uncertainty as to what will replace what has been moved out of the way, you know. But if we go back in time, we see that not only are we going through the sign of Aquarius, because we've been through like 25,000 years ago, of course, we were in the sign of Aquarius, of course, or going into the sign of Aquarius. But we're also dealing with a time where Pluto, which is the sign of death and resurrection, rules Scorpio. Pluto is in Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of time. That's Father Time. That regulates time. Also deals with karma. Capricorn is like kind of like a regulator, you know. When you go through your Saturn return, all of the lessons that you failed to learn, they come back to you and they face you right in your face, and you have to deal with them and you have to get through them, or you either get sick or you die, or a little bit of both. Okay, so the world is kind of going through that. And being that it's Pluto in Capricorn, death and resurrection, and karma, that's a hell of a cocktail to drink, my friend. That's a hell of a cocktail to drink. But what it says to me that it's the time, Capricorn, for death or resurrection. Let me say that again. The fact that Pluto is in Capricorn, it says to me that this is the time for death or resurrection. If you do not resurrect yourself, regenerate yourself, reborn yourself, remake your world, remake your government, remake your economy, remake your family, you know, wash it off clean, right? Renew. You know how they said Jesus was the Word made flesh? Well, we should be the Word made fresh, new. Because we've been wearing these old clothes of colonialism, these old clothes of fascism, these old clothes of the old world, old ideas. They wasn't old when they came about, but they old now. And it's time to keep it moving to something new that's better, that's fresh, that's clean, that can sustain us in this time that we're in. Because the old ideas, the old government, the old economy, the old rulers, the old thoughts no longer serve us. They burden us, you know? Because in a lot of cases, we have not figured them out. Well, it's not so much that we haven't figured them out. We've figured as much of it as we're going to figure out. And this is not the time of those concepts, of those old concepts of Pisces, you know, that has passed. The human sacrifice, where humans sacrificed themselves for false ideas and concepts. That time has passed, y'all. Take off them clothes. Let's take them off and lay them down. I'm talking to myself too. And move on to something greater. Because we're coming into an age of enlightenment, y'all. This is why so many people, they call it the information age now. So many people are seeking information and do not want to be bothered with religion or false religious concepts because they have expired. What they were supposed to be used for, they've been used for. They're done. You know, when you have that meat in your refrigerator and it says expired, but you still got it in there? Okay, that's kind of what's going on now. The meat is still there because you haven't taken and thrown it out, but it's not really good to eat. It's not fresh. It doesn't have the substance that it used to have. It's just sitting there, you know? And if you eat that meat, you'll get sick because it's expired. It's no longer good. Got to get some new meat, okay? And this is the time that we're in, the renewal, the replacing of what is old, what is tired, what is done with something that's new. Okay. And, you know, I say that because right now we're experiencing a full moon. So during the full moon, you get the fullness of whatever the particular time is, the fullness of it. You see the fullness of it. So during this full moon, okay, being that it's like 11, I think it's 11/15/2019, we also are in Mercury Retrograde. Mercury retrograde means that Mercury is a sign of communication and transportation. So during this time, you're probably seeing a lot of communication going haywire between people, a lot of relationships going haywire between people. Look at the White House, right? Okay, but not only is it just Mercury retrograde, it's, you know, we're going from one part of the calendar, Pisces, to another part of the calendar, Aquarius. So there's just like a lot of things going on in the universe, y'all. And then another aspect is that Pluto is in Capricorn. So right now is like a heightened time, heightened emotion for people. And a lot of people, because we're trying to use the tools from the Piscean age, religion, false education, human sacrifice, sacrificing yourself for a job and thinking that it's going to, you know, benefit you. Trying to use those tools, and those tools don't work in this age. They don't. You try to use those tools to work on your problems, and you're going to further break things down and further break yourself down. You know, I would say the tools of the Aquarian age is metaphysics. And why do I say that? Because Aquarius is a very metaphysical sign. They say that Aquarius is like 50 years to 100 years in the future. And I know a lot about Aquarius, y'all, because I'm an Aquarius. And I've always been told that I'm a very futuristic person, that I was a man from the future with futuristic ideas. And they used to tell me when I was a kid that nobody would ever understand the stuff I thought about or talked about, you know. But look, now this time of Aquarius has come where I can talk about these things and share these things with you, you know. And I know the world is feeling the energy of the Aquarius right now. And it's kind of something that's, I wouldn't say new to the human experience because we were there 25,000 years ago, but none of us in our lifetime have seen it unless if you know Aquarius, or when we pass through the time of Aquarius, you feel the energy. Now, I'll give you an example of some positive Aquariuses, okay? We're going to stay with that, who were true to their sign. You might know some Aquariuses, but Bob Marley's Aquarius. Alicia Keys is an Aquarius. Rakim is an Aquarius. Michael Jordan is an Aquarius. And I ain't saying these people are perfect, but when you kind of look at these people, you can kind of see what this age is going to look like. Angela Davis was an Aquarius. Huey P. Newton was an Aquarius. Allah the Father was Aquarius. He was born right on the cusp. But when we look at the astrological charts, he was Aquarius. George Washington was Aquarius, and I ain't tooting the horn or nothing, but you can see the type of qualities that these people have and kind of see what this age, where this age is taking us, what you can expect to see. And in ancient times, this is how we told and predicted the future, because we had already been all the way through the 25,000 year cycle. So we were able to see all 12 of the dispensations, how they feel, how they look, how they start, how we go through it, and how they end up. But it was a different time. It was not now, but it's very similar to now. Okay, so the last time that Pluto was in Capricorn was around the time of the said American Revolution. And it was a time of, obviously, upheaval, change, redirection. Let me say that again. The last time that Pluto was in Capricorn was the time of, the American Revolution. And it was a time of upheaval and change, where they were replacing an old system with a new system because they became dissatisfied with the old system, its quirks, the fact that it didn't work, the fact that it was a shoe that didn't fit anymore. We had outgrown that shoe, and we needed another shoe because our feet was hurting. And we got to walk in these motherfuckers. Yeah, so we had to put on a new shoe. And that new shoe became what they call the American government. But now that shoe has gotten old. Okay? This was also the time of the French Revolution. And that shoe has gotten old and it don't fit. I don't like to demonize stuff, y'all. Try to make it all bad, because there's always something good within what we're saying is all bad. It's just sometimes that some stuff gets old, like that meat in your refrigerator, and no longer consumable. The thing it was meant to do, it cannot no longer do. So we have to replace it with something that's new, renewal, right? Regeneration, or updating. When they hit you on your computer and they say, do you want to get this new program to replace the old program? What they call it, an upgrade? Would you like to upgrade from this one to this one? That's what time it is, man. We upgrading. Even our bodies are being upgraded, y'all. Yes, they are. And it's kind of a traumatic kind of thing, because the nervous system is saying, hey, man, what the fuck's going on here? There's a change going on. Yeah. You got like what they call junk DNA that's now being woken up by the energies that are being beamed to us from the constellation of Aquarius. And they're very high powered. Very, very high powered. This is why you have so many satellites surrounding the Earth, because they're trying to prevent these energies from getting to us. You think it's working? Or do you see, the signs of Aquarius coming closer and closer and closer and closer? I think it was Fifth Dimension that made an album, or actually a song, called The Age of Aquarius, and what would happen and what it would look like and what it would feel like. If you want like further reference on this, further reading, you want to read, some stuff about this, they have a book that I read when I was like 13. My mother gave it to me, called The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ. And it's just a good look of his true doctrine, what he brought and what he taught, So all right, y'all, I'm signing off. I want y'all to think about these things and research and look into these things. I actually have an article I'll be putting out called The Cosmic Clock. Tap into the mind of everything, or tap into, time, Time. It talks about time, but it talks about a time that determines and describes human development. You see? Because the clock on the wall don't describe that. But this is a clock that determines human development on a large scale and shows us how groups of humans develop at different times, how different times develop us through different aspects of the human personality. You know, good thing, good thing. So that's going to be coming out in a periodical that we're going to be putting out. It's actually an online magazine, okay, that I will be definitely getting at you about. Check back with me about it on my Facebook, Electromagnetic. It's going to be a lot of good information, futuristic ideas, just positive energy in general, because I don't like to kick fear facts. Ain't no need to be afraid, When you can see, when you know, ain't no need to be afraid. All right? So let's cut down some of this heightened emotionalism, Let's cut that down. That doesn't serve us anymore. This is not a time of heightened emotion. That was Pisces. This is the time of electromagnetic thought, where there's thoughts in the air that can solve your problems. Where else do thoughts come from? You think they come from a book? Before they was in a book, where was it at? It was in the air. Then it came in somebody's head, then it went in their hand and they wrote it. You heard me? But we don't have to go through the book no more. It's in the air now. The answer to your questions is airborne. You can breathe it in. Now it's in your brain, and it can go from your brain to your flesh, right? So let's go ahead and make the word, the truth, the thought, flesh. All right? It's just your brother Magnetic signing out. Remember, the cosmic clock, the Aquarian gospel of Jesus the Christ, and also read up on Pluto in Capricorn. All right? Peace and blessings.